Hey folks, welcome to Streaming Church TV live video blog. My name is Phil Thompson, and we do this every Thursday evening, usually 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And this is a video blog, a live video blog that we stream, and we generally talk about streaming issues for churches, small businesses, your ministries. And we are a company that obviously helps those organizations stream online. We also have websites and other things. So most of the time when we're talking about this live video blog, we'll take some questions and we'll talk about a specific topic. Could be cameras, could be technical things, could be lighting, could be sound. We even break away from occasionally and do something a little different on our issues. Today, we're going to take some questions and answers. We've been promoting this, and we've got a few people that have emailed us some questions. And if you want to be a part of this, just simply log on to StreamingChurch.tv and participate in our live chat. You can ask us some questions. If you're watching this on YouTube as an archive, or maybe on our on-demand media vault, video vault, you can still ask us questions even though we're not live. You can always email us at support@StreamingChurch.tv, support@StreamingChurch.tv. Anytime you want, and we will certainly address those things. So anyhow, I don't know if I introduce myself. I'm Phil Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of StreamingChurch.tv. Steve Lacey is our founder and president. He is not here today, playing hooky, but maybe we'll catch him online. Steve usually joins us for some of these live video blogs. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some of your questions here tonight, and let's see how we can do with answering them. We got a question from Stephen, who says, how can I get more viewers to chat while we stream our church service? Well, we're real big on interactivity. We're real big on chatting. We have a platform that's very interactive, and one of those features is chat, and so we always encourage people to chat along with others. So there's several things you can do here to encourage a little more chat. First of all, I hope you have a greeter or a web host or somebody like that is always on the chat when you're streaming your services live. It makes the experience so much nicer for people who are, especially those maybe logging in for the first time. A lot of people are watching you online. Many times they're in your area because they want to check out your church. They want to see, okay, is this something that's for me? Is this a church that I might fit in, my family might fit in? And so they're going to stream, and many times they might have questions about your church while they're watching the service. And it's always nice to have somebody there that makes themselves available and lets people know that, hey, I'm the web host. We've got a feature you can use on our administrative panel that when you log in as the web host, it identifies you as the web host. So I would always welcome people, greet people, and yes, a lot of times people are not going to respond. We've been doing this at my church for a long time, and we have a number of people that chat, but we also have a number of people that don't chat for whatever reason, and that's fine. That's totally cool. We're not forcing anybody to interact, but we let them know that we're available. Don Young is a web host. I'm actually church online pastor, campus pastor. We have other people like Mike Gray and others that are involved in the chat. So we are always letting people know we're available. We post phone numbers for prayer, email addresses, and we have links on there for Facebook, our own church Facebook page, and Twitter and all that good stuff. So I would encourage you, Stephen, to make sure you're doing all those things, that if you're not doing them, have somebody that you designate that you can trust to chat with people, at least be available, and I think that will help you. The other thing I would encourage you to do too is ask questions. Not intrusive questions perhaps, but questions about how they're liking the service, how it's looking, maybe where they're from, maybe if it's their first or second time watching, and just kind of you can feel it out a little bit. If people will chat, ask some questions. Our pastor actually does a virtual pastor question. Now, what does that mean, you might say? Well, he will almost always, right at the very beginning of his message, ask a question that's related to the topic that he's on. So like last weekend, he talked about Father's Day. And his question was, for people online, as well as people in the auditorium, was I believe it was something like, what's the worst thing you ever had to do for your child? Of course, this was Father's Day. And so we actually, at our church, we encourage people to text in the auditorium or on their tablets. And that also goes for people who are online. They can answer the question through our chat platform watching online, or they can text us. And his question was, what's the worst thing you've ever done for your child? And of course, this was Father's Day. So we got a lot of interesting answers. Some people were, some of them were funny, changing diapers, those kind of things, changing up messes. Some of them more serious. So I would encourage you to get your senior pastor, your lead teacher, to, again, participate and acknowledge the online crowd on a regular basis throughout his message, even if he has to put little notes in there to remind himself or herself, hey, there's people online watching, and address those people specifically when you maybe mention a scripture or something, encourage him to read along, something like that. Does that make sense? So again, you want to bring people in, not just on the chat, but those who are speaking on the camera, draw people in, and I think you'll get some more results if you do that. Okay? All right, so we're taking questions here. If you just joined us, just questions and answers. I'm Phil Thompson with StreamingChurch.tv. Thanks for joining us. Here's one from Bill, who says, my audio, this is a little more technical. He says, my audio is out of sync with my video when viewed on the iPad. How can I fix that? Well, that happens occasionally. You'll see that the audio is just totally out of sync with the video. It could be a couple seconds behind, kind of like an old movie or something that's done in a foreign country. Well, there's several ways to fix that, and it just depends on your configuration, what you're streaming with, the camera, you're going into a switcher, what are you using. But one of the simplest ways and quickest ways is to go to your live encoder. In this case, we recommend an Adobe Flash Media Live encoder. And there's a frame rate setting that you can change on that. In fact, we're streaming right now to the iPhone and the iPad as I talk, and I did make an adjustment to the frame rate. I set mine to 15.00. It was set, I think, at 29.97, and there was a little bit of audio not being in sync with the video. So a quick fix many times is going to that frame rate on your audio encoder, your live media encoder. In this case, it's an Adobe Flash, what we're using, but there's other encoders have that same setting. So change the frame rate, and you may have to experiment a little bit. You may have to try it, stream, test a little bit, see if it's in sync with the audio and the video. Many times that's a quick fix, and that's an easy fix. There could be some other issues depending on how elaborate your setup is with going into a switcher and then what you've got coming out of the switcher into your computer. But if you have more questions on that, just email us support@streamingchurch.tv, and we'll try to help you with that. Okay? All right. Thanks, Bill. Moving along here with questions and answers tonight. Hope you're enjoying this. Feel free to ask us on the chat platform or email us with support@streamingchurch.tv if you have some questions. Maybe you're watching on Facebook right now. We have a nice interface on Facebook, so you don't have the chat, but you can still email us. All right. Bandwidth charges. Sally has a question. Please explain to me how your bandwidth charges work. Well, at Streaming Church TV, we have a monthly subscription fee of $99 a month plus bandwidth. Now, different companies do things differently when it comes to that. But we have chosen to go $99 a month, no long-term contract. It's just month to month. We're kind of old-fashioned. We want to earn your business. We really do. We're real big on customer service, so we want to earn your business month to month. But there is the bandwidth fee that sometimes it's a little confusing if you're not used to it. We charge $1.25 per gigabyte. If you use over 100 gigabytes a month, then we discount that down to 99 cents. Now, for some people, that's like, okay, what does that mean? Clear as mud, right? An easier way to describe it is if you set your live encoder, the device that you use to hook up with our servers, your Adobe Flash, in this case, Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder. If you set your bit rate, your upload speed to around 300, between 250 and 300, which is what we recommend, you're going to probably consume about, your viewers are going to use probably about 13 cents of viewer hour, 13 to 14 cents of viewer hour. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you had one person watching your service for an hour, they would probably consume about 13 to 14 cents worth of bandwidth. That's if you're setting around 250 to 300 kilobytes per second. Now, if you had 10 people watching at that rate, it's going to be about $1.30 an hour, $1.40 an hour. It depends. You can always get the exact totals and exact data from our Sawmill database. We actually give you credentials that you can log into, and you can see unique IP addresses, what cities people are from, lots of details. A lot of them I'm totally not even sure of on some of them, but it will give you a lot of stats, and you can always know after you stream who was on and how many people were on and how much bandwidth you consumed. Okay, but to make this a little easier for you, that's the formula I use: 13, 14 cents a viewer hour. So if you had 10 people watching for an hour, $1.30, $1.40, 100 people watching, and $13, $14 a viewer hour with bandwidth. Now, some of you may want to, we're saying 250, 300 kilobytes per second. You might want to go more than that. You might want to go less. The quality will go up usually if you go higher bandwidth, but again, most people are watching on computers or their tablets or their iPhone or their Android, so you don't really need to go much higher than that. In fact, you could probably go less than that, and the quality still looks good. If you're streaming to a large screen, a large platform, flat screen TVs, or some other different venue, yes, then I would encourage you to stream at a higher bit rate. But honestly, you can get a good quality picture if your lighting is good on your subject, if your camera's fairly decent, if you're doing things right. You can get a very good picture at 250, 300 kilobytes per second, and it will save you on bandwidth. All right. Let me just say one more thing about that. Lots of organizations charge differently. Some of them will charge you flat rates, but you're generally paying anywhere from $400 or $500, $700 a month, maybe higher depending on who you're using. And they are banking on the fact that you're not going to use that much bandwidth according to their pay scale, their rate. At StreamingChurch.tv, we're going to charge you for only what you use. So there's no guesses there. There's no hoping on our part that you don't consume that much so we make more money off you. I'm not getting down on other companies. That's just the way we do things. We're going to charge you for what you use. And that's why we don't do long-term contracts. That's why we're charging you per bandwidth or per gigabyte. Other companies have different ways. Somebody's paying for the bandwidth. Make no mistake about it. And other companies are going to charge more because they're hoping you're not going to use as much, and they're going to make money off it. So that's kind of how that works. So if you have any questions about that, again, just email us support@streamingchurch.tv. All right, hope that helps, Sally. Ken has a question here. Roku. What is Roku, and how do we get on Roku? Well, Roku is I didn't have one in here. I should have brought one in here. Roku is a little hardware device about the size of the palm of my hand that you can plug into your TV, and it works off your Wi-Fi or your internet connection at your home. If you've heard of Apple TV, it's kind of the same way. Roku connects on the internet and allows you to watch programs on your television set. You can subscribe to Netflix and Amazon, and Major League Baseball has a channel on there. And many of those things are free. Some of those things are not, like Netflix has a subscription fee. Major League Baseball, I just mentioned, has a subscription fee. But there are other programs on there, other things you can watch for free. And all it is connected up to your internet connection and your bandwidth. And you just watch it. And it's really pretty cool, actually. I have one myself. Should have brought it in here. Little device, plugs into your TV, hooks up to your Wi-Fi. Now, StreamingChurch.tv has a channel on Roku. It's under the spiritual religious heading, and everybody that streams with us has access to Roku for free. So you can be on Roku for free, and if you have to change your settings. You have to make sure your encoding settings fit the Roku platform, and that's basically the same as you would for an iOS deal for iPhone, iPad. You got to stream in, I believe the video is H.264, and then the audio is going to be AAC. So those are things we can answer more of those questions, but you can be on Roku if you want for free under our StreamingChurch.tv platform. Now you might want to have your very own Roku channel. If you want to do that, we can build that out for you. That's not free. Generally, I believe if you're a customer, it's $4 $499 for us to build that out for you, have your own private Roku channel, and that's a steal. Most companies are charging a lot more for that, but if you're going to be one of our customers and you want to have your own private channel, we can certainly do that for you as well. Okay, Ken? So, and again, any more questions, feel free to ask us about that, email us or something. Okay, all right, questions and answers. If you just joined us, I'm Phil Thompson with StreamingChurch TV. Steve Lacey is not with us tonight, but let's go ahead and follow some list here on some questions we've got here. Okay, here's one from Leroy. Leroy says, I thought you had to have the Main Concepts plugin in order to be able to stream to the iPhone and the iPad on the Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder. True or false? Leroy, a while back, if you used the Adobe Flash Live Media Encoder, you had to have a plugin. We recommended Main Concepts plugin in order for you to be able to stream to the iPhone, the iPad, and all that. People couldn't view you in that years ago. Now, if you have the latest version, it's 3.21, I believe, of the Adobe Flash Media Live Encoder. All you have to do is change the setting. Again, I mentioned it earlier when it came to Roku. Change your video setting to H.264, and then your audio's got to be MP3. And then there's some settings under that that you need to set. You need to set it to stereo and some other things you need to do. I can give you the details. So you don't need to have the Main Concepts plugin anymore to stream, and people can view you on the iPhone, the iPad. So that's a pretty cool deal. It's been going out for quite a while. And again, if you have questions about that, you certainly can ask us. Okay. There's another related question here. I think earlier I saw from Keith, and he said he sent an email earlier. Said, do we still need to use the Main Okay, let me rephrase this. It says, since I've now found out you can stream without the Main Concepts plugin, we got this earlier. Should we still use the Main Concepts plugin, even though now you don't need to have it to stream with the Adobe Flash Encoder? Keith, I would encourage you to just go ahead and keep using it. Keep using the Main Concepts plugin. You paid for it. Go ahead and use it. There's a little bit of a difference in it. Again, gives you an audio setting of AAC, and that will make it much easier for people to catch you on Roku and also your archive. So I would keep using it if you have it, but you don't have to have it now, thanks to Adobe Flash doing some updating a while back. Okay, good. All right, how are we doing on time? It looks like we're doing okay. Let's go ahead and keep going through some questions here. Howard's got a question. We have folks complaining that their picture freezes up when they watch our streaming church service. Why is that happening? All right, well, Howard, there could be happening for a couple different reasons. One is the people who are watching it in their homes or whatever, their internet might not be doing very well. Yes, it's 2012. Yes, internet service providers have done a better job now than they did 10 years ago or even 3 or 4 years ago with speed and all that stuff. But there are times where neighborhood networks get bogged down. If a lot of people happen to be on them, it will slow down the download, slows down the upload as well. And so when people are watching, sometimes they will get what's called buffering. Things will freeze up a little bit. All right, their computer could be a little sick too. Sometimes people don't do a lot of maintenance on their computers. They don't do a lot of defragging, and so the CPU bogs down. So that could be part of the issue. The other issue could be on your end. You have to, again, make sure that your upload speed on your internet is going to be able to handle what you're sending up the pipe. So I would encourage you to do a speed test on a regular basis. Just go to StreamingChurch.tv. Under resources, use our speed test. Don't use the other guys, because our speed test is going to go right to the servers where we're at, and it's going to give you an accurate reflection. So do a speed test using our thing, and do that on a regular basis, because things do change. But your upload speed has to be at least a couple hundred kilobytes per second more than what you're streaming. So if you're streaming at 300 kilobytes per second, your upload speed, the ceiling should be at least 500, again, that can fluctuate. And let me say why that can fluctuate. If you have a lot of people in your church that have their computers turned on and they're using your Wi-Fi or plugged into your internet, that's going to slow it down. That's going to slow down your upload speed. You believe me, there may be more people than you think. At my church, we have Wi-Fi, but we decided to go ahead and have a different connection, a different network for streaming only. We isolate it just for streaming purposes, because at our church we allow people to have their cell phones connected to the Wi-Fi, or their tablets, or even their computers. We're internet friendly at my church, and so we encourage it. And people, if they get on there, they can slow down the bandwidth. So keep that in mind. And also, I would encourage you to make sure that when you're streaming, whatever machine you're using to stream with, I would not have a lot of other activity going on during your streaming. If you've got several programs open, it can slow your computer down, bog down your CPU, which can create kind of a bottleneck with the signal, and it can cause a problem for people who are trying to watch your service. Another option you have is if you do really stream at a high speed. Again, people on the other end of that can choke on that signal, believe it or not. You could have an option where you could send multiple streams if you want to. With us, you can send a lower speed stream, and a medium speed, and a higher speed. And then you can give people that option on the platform, the StreamingChurch.tv platform. They can get an option of clicking on a lower speed if they're having problems with buffering. The quality may not be quite as good with the picture, but they won't have any interruptions, okay? There's also another feature on the Adobe Flash Media Live encoder that you can use, and that is you can actually click on a feature called degrade quality, which will adjust your bandwidth. Now, don't freak out when I say degrade quality, but there's an adjustment on the encoder on the right side of your streaming that it will automatically sense when there is a shrinkage in your upload, and it will adjust your upload speed. And so if you're streaming at 300 or 400 and all of a sudden your bandwidth at your location, wherever you're streaming at, begins to disappear for some reason, it will make that adjustment, and it will degrade the quality a little bit, but it will not interrupt the flow of the stream. So that's something you can check on your encoder, and it's a very simple fix, especially if you're having some issues with internet. A lot of churches, we have customers, and they deal with internet issues depending on where they're located. So keep that in mind. And again, if you have questions about that, just feel free to contact us. Okay. All right. We got a little more time here. And by the way, let me just address that again. That issue of freezing, buffering. Most of the time, our servers do a great job handling streaming services. They do a really good job at it. We're not perfect. We do have a glitch occasionally. We had one a while back last month, and but I'm not trying to get away from the blame. So a lot of times when people have a problem, when there's buffering or they're having an issue connecting, their first impulse is to call us and tell us, hey, something's wrong with you guys. Most of the time that's not the case. I'm not trying to weasel out of any responsibility. Most of the time it's an internet connection or something like that with bandwidth, either at your place or the people watching it. There are times we have issues, but most of the time we're pretty good at it. So I'm just being blunt here about that. You may not like that answer, but most of the time we're doing okay. However, please call us. We've got a toll-free number you can call. Just go to StreamingChurch.tv and get that toll-free number and call us on the weekends. We have customer support 24/7. So it may be your problem. We'll try to help you discover what it is, troubleshoot it. It could be our problem. I'm not saying it could never be. So feel free to call us. Let us know if you're having problems, because we are there to help you. And that goes for anything you're dealing with. I have found sometimes that some of our customers just kind of tolerate some issues, and they get frustrated after a while. But don't wait to let us know as soon as possible. When you have an issue, let us know. It could be a very simple fix. It could be very simple, and we could alleviate the headache and make life a little easier for you and your viewers. All right, good. Thanks for that question too, by the way, Howard. All righty, we're moving along here, answering some questions here. Got a few minutes left. What else we got here? Oh, how much for a church app, and what will it do? Jared had this question about church apps. We are developing church apps now. We've produced some, and a church app is something that we can do for your church. We can set it up so that people can download the app on their mobile device, and they can click a couple buttons on it and watch your streaming service. They can connect with other things that your church website has, prayer requests, maybe connection cards, different things like that, special events coming up, calendars. So we can set that up for you. It's a church app. And the cost, the big question, the cost. Well, church apps are not cheap, but we have made it where if you're a customer, we will do it for half price. Normally we do it for about $14.99, but we can do it for for $799. So we can do it basically for half price if you're a customer, and depending on what you want it to do, we will customize it for you, graphics and the whole bit. So $799 if you're a regular customer, if you're of Streaming Church TV, myflock.com. If you're not, we'll have to charge a little more for that. Now you might say, Phil, that's a lot of money. Well, it is in some ways, but if you look at what the other guys are doing out there, they're charging, most of them are charging a lot more. So we're trying to give you a break there. And if you have questions on that, please feel free to give us a call on that. We really, part of our vision and our mission here at Streaming Church TV is to make things affordable for you. Technology is a great tool, and we want to help you use it to its fullest. Church apps are awesome because they can just connect people right to your church very, very quickly, and we're trying to make it affordable for you guys as well. So let us know. Somebody had a question here earlier. I don't know if I have it down here, but I had it on my email. That one question was, well, if people want to view our service, our streaming service, do they have to have a church app to view it on their mobile device? And the answer is no. They don't have to have a church app to be able to view your stream. They can just use their browser, the browser on their Android or on their iPhone or whatever. They can use their browser and they can connect and watch your streaming service. But a church app does make it a little easier, makes it a little quicker, and people are more apt to view your services and view your church website, different things if it's on an app. It just makes it easier for them. They're more apt to do it if they have an app that gives them that easy access to your church website and to your stream. So I encourage you to do that. And again, we can whip one up for you, just like we can a Roku channel. Just email us if you're interested, support@streamingchurch.tv, and we'll be happy to do that for you, okay? Awesome. Well, these are good. We do this every Thursday evening, 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, as well as 6 o'clock here on the West Coast. We're actually in Arizona, so we're on Mountain Time. But we encourage you to tell your friends about this live video blog, and you may be listening on a podcast. We're going to start using this as a podcast. You might be watching on another thing like YouTube. We're just so glad that you spent some time with us, and we hope that this has helped you. And if there's any questions you have about streaming, please feel free to give us a call or email us, support@streamingchurch.tv, or visit our website. Again, it's streamingchurch.tv. Well, I'm Phil Thompson. On behalf of Steve Lacey and the whole crew here at StreamingChurch.tv and myflock.com, we appreciate you spending some time with us tonight. Happy streaming. We will catch you next time. Take care.